Welcome back to Do It Myself Garage. So I pulled it in the garage kind of crooked here because I need to get this wheel off, that entire piece underneath in the wheel well, and then we are going to change out the water pump. Let's get started. Alright, first thing to do, slide your seat all the way back, pull the carpet up, and under the passenger seat there's this one screw on this lid. It takes a T20. Unscrew that, lift up the lid. It kind of slides. Oh, that's right. You got to pull this plastic cover off first. Hold on. Then this will slide off. Kind of slides forward, and there is your battery. I'm gonna disconnect the positive cable because we'll be doing some electrical stuff under the hood, and yeah, that would be bad. I'll say, so the screw for the floor was a Torx 20, and this was just a 10 millimeter, and unbolted that undoes the clamp, and she's loose. So I'm going to tuck that away so there's no way she's going to make contact while we're working on the car. And now we're good to go up. Actually, I got to take the tire off now. Alright, roll this out of the way. Alright, so there's some Torx to loosen up from there on down on both sides. There's a couple more up in here, but those are just screws that hold the fender on. And in my experience, that was just tucked up under there. So, I don't know, yours, they might be tight. But otherwise, just remove those. And then you're going to have a whole bunch of these goofy clips that are most likely going to be broken, or you're going to break them. What you do is you lift this up. Just the head, just the inside head. And then that whole thing should just pull out. See, now it shouldn't have pulled out the centerpiece. That whole thing's supposed to pop out now. So, you will break a few of those. They usually go back in even after they're a little worn. And if you're really concerned about it, you can buy new ones at the parts store. But, get them little guys out of there. And there's a bunch of those all the way around. So look for them wherever they're still there and get them out. There's a couple underneath here also kind of on the frame as a splash guard. So we got to get this whole thing out of here so we can work on this car. Okay, so you really only need to take off the front one. And the reason being is it kind of tucks under here and makes it hard to get at stuff. What we're looking at here is now I've got my belt. And you need to be able to get up to that guy right there, right in the middle of the screen. That's the tensioner. And what you got to do there is put a 1/2-inch breaker bar in that and turn it, and that'll release the tension on the belt, and you can pop the belts off. Can't get the water pump out if you don't have the tension off that belt. We need to disassemble the entire front of this car. So you got to take this piece off of here. We've got to take the electrical box out, all kinds of stuff. So let's get to work on that. Once you have all those stupid clips out of there, now you can start taking loose other things. I need to get this loose and removed, and I need to get this cover off. Should just be a 10 millimeter here. This should just come off. You've got to take the oil fill off. Oil fill cap. If I know how. This whole thing should just lift off. It looks like there's screws on the front here. Alright, there's some fake looking screws on the top of here. They don't do anything. Just take the oil filler, the oil cap out, and just lift this up, kind of lift it straight up, and it's just got like little rubber retainers. Alright, let's take this antifreeze container out of here. And so I'm going to pop that hose off, as well as the clip that holds it. Should just slide off of here. Maybe. Not that old of a vehicle, but she does have a lot of miles on her. It's been a good vehicle for me. Okay. That should just lift out of there now. Maybe. Try not to break it. Try not to break it. There we go. Got him out. Lay him somewhere here where he's going to leak for sure. Oh, put the oil filter cap back on. So we don't put anything in our engine we don't want. Now I'm going to start disconnecting all of this stuff. That was why you had to have the battery disconnected. Because your main power junction and everything's right here. Let's get this out of here. This box pops out. We have to take one engine mount out, and then we should have really easy access to the water pump, which is toward the top of the engine here. All right, let's go ahead and get this main piece off of here. That's not a 10. Again, really important why this is all disconnected. If you were to bump positive, that's something here that would be bad. And we're going to have some other very exposed items here. We're going to take this off. We're just going to tip it out of the way. Obviously, if that was still hooked to battery power, that would be very bad. I don't know why I'm struggling so hard right now. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so there's 2 bolts in here that hold that whole thing down. Okay, if I remember right from what the guy said, these bolts don't come out. They go down and they kind of like the clips. They go down and they expand the thing. They come up and you can hear them go click, click, click. That's all you got to do. This whole thing should come out now. All right. In addition to these 2 bolts on top that you loosen up but don't come out, there's also clips all the way around the box. Just kind of push them and lift. And the minute you let go, they pop back into place. Just kind of work them out of there. 2 clips. There we go. Yep. Holy cow! It's plugged into all of these connectors at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's why it's coming apart so hard.
The water pump, right?
Just for the water pump, which is down here. So you can't get to it.
Take it out,
so you got to disassemble the whole car. Yep. I think I have to take the rear tire off the car too to get to the water pump. That's about it, man. It's just ridiculous. Anyhow, that's off of there. Right. Thank you, Dennis.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that shouldn't have been that hard.
Yeah. No, the thing is...
What? I'm fighting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 clips all at the same time.
Yeah. Plus the screws in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're fighting all of those all at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can lift this one up, tuck them out of the way. This one here kind of slides together. This part here, it's close to the fender, comes up. The other part goes down and they'll come apart. And then that way you can separate this cable. They're not connected, but they're connected for the sake of being in the box. There. Just slides apart, so. Slide him out of the way. Slide this guy out of the way carefully. Okay, now we can get this tray out of here. When I get this out of here, I'll show you what clips I was pushing on. I want to say I was pushing on the wrong ones, but I was concentrating on the wrong ones. The clips I had loosened first were the ones for when it comes out now, as opposed to these smaller clips. I'll show you here in a second. Pleasantly surprised at how clean this is, though. There's no corrosion in that box. That stands to reason I keep the car inside most of the time. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to show you here what I'm talking about. Alright, so these clips here, this one, this one, this one, these clips on the outside, don't worry about them. It's these little clips, these little ones that I was trying to do these bigger clips. It was these little clips I had to fight, and the problem is you get these two up and these two in rocks and it doesn't want to come loose. So kind of took two people. I'm going to go ahead and clean this out a little bit. There's a little bit of stuff in there, not much. Alright, so now I need to take the battery tray out. And there are some electrical attached to this, but they're just on here with clips. So just unclip them, just pry them up off of there. Won't damage your electrical, but pry them up off of there. And then we'll take this battery tray out here so you have a little more room to work. These should be 10 millimeters also, but I might need an extension. Alright, so there's a nut here and a nut over here on the firewall. I guess they're both on the firewall, but that one's over further. And that is the number one thing we wanted out of here. So we actually have some room to work on this guy. He's pretty clean too. Alright. Let me pick you up and show you where we're at. Apologize if my camera angles aren't the best today. But that is all out of there. And then the next thing we're going to take out is this engine mount. And then literally the water pump is right underneath it. So that is why we take apart the whole top of the engine. Next step is remove the upper radiator hose. If you have a lot of coolant in your system, you might have wanted to drain it before now. I'm not too worried about mine because mine has been so dang low. I'm not worried about what little I'm going to lose on the floor in here. I'm going to be honest, that radiator hose was really a pain to get out. Took the clip loose there, but I couldn't get it to move. So I took it loose carefully from the radiator, then bent the hose up on top, up here, so I could pull on it and pry on it. What a pain. But we got her off of there. And I'll be able to reuse it. Okay, cheated a little bit, used my impact. Got that bolt, I'll turn my, that bolt there, and that bolt there. There's two more bolts. There's that one there, and there's one on the other end of the bracket also. Can't really see it from here, but anyway, there's bolts on both ends of that bracket. Let's get that out of there. It's gonna be a little hard to see what I'm doing down here, but I need to take those water pump bolts loose. Do that before you take the tension off the bolt. Mine are so loose they're coming off anyway, so it's probably not that big of a deal. Let me get those off so I get the pulley off, then we can get the pump out. Alright, be quite honest, the bolts and the pulley just fell right off of there. I had to bend this hose all the way just a little bit to get the pulley off of there. But now the hardest part is getting the 6 bolts off the pump. And let's get those off. 10 millimeter. I don't have an angled wrench, and I don't have the best camera equipment to get down in here, so you just have to trust me I did it. Alright, so I took the 3 bottom ones up from the bottom, and now I'm going to take the 3 top ones up from the top. Having this wheel off of here is a tremendous help. There was one of that one bolt for the engine mount was right there also. I could get my impact on and spin him right out. So far, everything has been a little on the loose side, if you ask me. These bolts weren't even torqued down. So, anyway, let me get those last 3 bolts out of there. They came out of there no problem. Gasket came all out in one piece. I will scrape that edge to make sure it's nice and clean. Let me show you. So that entire surface there, you want to get that clean so you get a good seal. So we'll clean all around that, and with surprisingly very little antifreeze in this engine. So that was definitely my problem. You can tell from underneath too. It was slinging antifreeze everywhere. So we will get that cleaned up, and we'll get this new pump on here. If anyone's curious, I went on Rock Auto and bought the Melling brand water pump for this. The main reason I bought the Melling brand, it not only came with the pump, it came with the gasket, the metal gasket with the rubberized, and it came with 6 new bolts. So this goes on there, in case you're wondering, that weep hole goes up, so that way you know whether it's up or down, and then the gasket really only goes on one way. You'll be able to figure it out. It's not a problem. There's no front or back to the gasket. You'll figure it out. It's pretty easy. Okay, so what I did is I put 1 bolt in that hole and 1 bolt on the kind of opposite toward the bottom. And that kind of held the gasket in place. Shoved it on there. I was able to get the top one started. Bottom bolt fell out, but because everything fits, the metal gasket didn't move. So I've got the top and bottom one both started by hand now. Now I can start drying things up. Obviously, don't use power tools until you know you have everything started properly. And then we'll get them all in there and get them torqued down. She's all in there. Torque to spec. Look it up. Your vehicle might be different. I'm not going to quote something I could get in trouble for later. Let's get that pulley on there now. Alright, the belt is back on. Consult your owner's manual and diagram for your vehicle, or pay really close attention when you do it. Depending on what accessories you have, it might be a little different. The water pump doesn't get a lot of tension. The belt just barely rides over the top of that. So that's why it's really important. The bearings are good on that, but that should be enough tension for us to be able to tighten those bolts now. Obviously, I'm just going in reverse order here, so I put the engine mount brackets all back on. Now I'm going to put the radiator hose on. Alright, so I'm going to show you how to do this clip. So to get these off, just squeeze them together and then they should hook. It's actually kind of a pain to unhook them, and there we go. That one went first time. The other one I fought with it. Anyhow, there you go. Hose is on. Alright, now that I'm working up toward the top, you should be able to see a little bit better now. Alright, obviously make sure you get all your stuff up out of the way. All your electrical. You need to have all your connections. Get them on the pins. So I got two nuts here and 1 screw there. Again, just make sure you didn't any wires under here. How about I go forward and not reverse? Okay. Forward. Forward. I'll be dropping the tools down inside the vehicle. Okay, tight. Alright. That is all in there. Okay, now it's time to push this guy back down where he goes. He's got his little spot that we pulled him out of before. him. The little guy back here had the same thing. One of these connectors had its own little home. Send him home. Okay, and now we've got the junction box, and I actually cleaned it. Gave it a real good clean. She's nice and dry. And we're going to shove him down in here. Same thing here, and make sure all your stuff's on top. This guy here doesn't want to stay on top. He just wants to fall down. And try not to break it. It's plastic and it's near freezing out here in the garage. Oh, I'll take that back. It's probably in the 50s out here actually. It's freezing outside though, that's for sure. Okay, close. Okay, there we go. And click, click. Okay, she's in there. Oh, there we go. Now she's in there. Okay, remember these two have to go together. So these two slide together and then drop into the box. This one just drops into the box. Okay. And these terminals here, kind of like that. Okay, so now my upper box should press right onto here, and then we bolt them down. Take the nut off of this. I'm taking the nut off the box. I imagine this is going to go back together easier than it came apart. Oh yeah. Way better. Okay, so now let's run those two locking things down. And they click when they're done. They just kind of, I don't know what to say, but they click, and that just holds all of that in there. Okay. Now, that up here, that up there, there. Oh boy, I didn't. Oh, that just clicks on there. That's right. Okay. Just making sure I'm not forgetting anything. Hate to have to take things apart twice. 14, but it feels big. No, that's right. Done. That's how confident I am. All right. Get all my tools off of here. Okay, before I put my cover on, I need to add antifreeze. So let's go ahead and do that, and let's see what else. So I got an antifreeze here. So in case you didn't know, you've got this whole front piece on this van. Let me back up the zoom a little bit here. And you actually do have a radiator cap on these, even though you have the reservoir. Oh, I gotta put the reservoir back on. Even though you have a reservoir, anyway, your actual radiator cap is right here. Reservoir. Let me go get him. I gotta put him back too. And yeah, when I took the reservoir off earlier, you can't wait to take this off till you get all this other stuff out of here. So you're not worried about breaking anything. But I've never had a problem with getting this one off of here. Well, I've only had it off twice now, but never had a problem. I'm pretty proud of myself. I did good this time. There we go. Antifreeze. And actually, yeah, I'll have to add some to the reservoir also. But let's add some to the engine first before I even think about hooking up the battery. Alright, so I'm going to throw my cardboard under here. And watch for leaks. Obviously it has to fill all the hoses. Engine block. That is a lot of stuff to take apart just to do a water pump, but better than paying someone else, that's for darn sure. Let me do some of this other secondary stuff. Putting this piece back under here in the tire, and I'll come back. Alright, so literally the only thing left to do is to put that last engine cover on. But I want to start it up first. See if it'll even start. Had it all apart. Batteries hooked back up. See if we get any type of engine codes. Everything's back in where it should be. Like I said, except for this big cover that goes on top. So we should be good. Wish me luck. Sounds good. No leaks from any of the hoses I had off. Alright, so that was a pretty successful job. Appreciate everybody for following along, liking, subscribing, all that great stuff. I'm not going to bore you with putting all this junk back together. Goes back together a little worse every time you have it apart, so just do your best. You know, every time you have these clips apart, it's one less lifetime they have left in them. That one I pushed a little too quickly and she collapsed. Good job. Good job. I hope that was of some help if someone actually wanted to do that, or even if you're looking at, I'm thinking of having a mechanic do this and they're wanting to charge you a big chunk of change. It takes some time. I probably have of my time at least 4 to 5 hours into this, probably. And some of that's I didn't necessarily know what I'm doing, so I'm taking my time. But it does take time to get this put together. So if you're gonna have a mechanic do it, this was one of those ones you might want to let a mechanic do it if you're not the most mechanically inclined. Alright, see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.